Well, I mean, a couple things. I mean, one, what you're really looking for is just a glimpse because that's all you're going to get. You're just getting a series of plays. So you're just looking for glimpses, right? A glimpse of somebody's talent, a glimpse of somebody's strength, a glimpse of somebody's speed. You're not really, you don't want to overreact to OTAs, but at the same time, this is your final tune-up for training camp. So I thought there were a few interesting things today. One, or in these OTAs and in the Niner offseason program. One, Brock Purdy is getting to another level. And I don't think people understand that that's kind of the deal here. I mean, if you looked at all the different discussion points and articles and stories that have been written about the Niners off season and all the different things people are looking for, nobody's really looking for Brock Purdy to be better because we just view Brock Purdy as already kind of surprisingly good, right? So it's like he's already pretty good. So we don't really think about him getting better. But here it is.
There's almost nowhere to go but regress from an historic pace to a start of a career. So,
and that's a lot of people's assumption is that there's nowhere to go but down. But the reality is this is a quarterback who's now had his first full off season after his first full regular season. And there's going to be dramatic improvement, and you're seeing it in this camp. And I think the way he takes control of the huddle, the way he's leading the drills. I mean, this is his team. This is now his football team. There's no ambiguity about any of that. And you can tell he's the leader. So that's the first thing that stood out. The second thing that stood out to me is just how Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall already have a rapport that's that's going to be very, very exciting to see develop. Ricky knows where he's supposed to be, and he's there. And he's developing a trust now with Brock. Brock's developing a trust in him and in Jacob Cowing, and there's couple of those young receivers. But you're really starting to see that Purdy to Pearsall is going to be a thing.
Well, and you can see quickly that Pearsall is getting runs with the number one group. And I'm not saying that he is a fill-in for Ayuk, who is the only member of the Niners who was not there today. They basically had 100% attendance for this mini camp. Not everyone was wearing a jersey and out there, but Pearsall wasn't a non-contact jersey. Maybe you know more about that. I didn't garner why he was in that non-contact jersey.
He's had an injury and he's just had some soreness. So they put him in the blue jersey so guys don't hit him because he's dealing with some soreness, probably in the sternum or rib area. And so they just got him out there on the blue jersey as just to alert the other players where he's at so they don't hit him.
Didn't affect his route running, didn't affect his catch radius, didn't affect any. I mean, to me, I couldn't understand why he was in a non-contact jersey because there's not a lot of contact out there anyway. But you don't want him to be shoved to the ground, I guess, or whatever. He looked awesome.
You're just trying to protect him a little bit. I mean, there's going to be plenty of time for him to take hits and that kind of thing. And George Odum had one play yesterday, wasn't today, yesterday. He had a play where Pearsall, it looked like Purdy was throwing like a deep in to Pearsall, and the throw was off target, and George Odum was right there, like hunting the monster hit. And obviously he's not going to hit his teammate, especially wearing the blue jersey. But he kind of suggested to Ricky Pearsall, like, hey, buddy, welcome to the NFL. 3 months from now, you're going to be taking this hit.
Right.
And there's going to be guys who are going to be delivering this hit. So I thought that was interesting. That was 2 days ago.
I like his cuts, Larry. He's got quick feet.
Precise.
He's got incredible feet and foot, foot discipline sounds like some bullshit I just made up. But he really, he doesn't tie himself up. He is in and out of his routes quickly. He is shaking dudes who are staying with him, trying to. He's wiggle
refined
on him. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a refined college receiver. And that's why they like him. That's why they want him, because he is refined. But yeah, Purdy to Pearsall's real. The other thing I thought was kind of a big part of the takeaways is that, I think the mindset or emotional well-being of Deebo Samuel is something to take note of, just from the standpoint of he's, might be entering his final year with the Niners. It's a very high likelihood, and just like what's his mental state, because he is one of those guys that not everybody's mental state matters, but his does, because he's one of the real tone setters in the room, leaders in the room. The Niners vibe is a lot of times predicated off of his individual vibe. And so I just wanted to see kind of like where his mind's, where he was headspace wise, as far as, is he doing and saying the right things? Does he seem bothered? Does he seem agitated? He seemed very comfortable. And he said, "Hey, look, you know what? I haven't gotten the Lombardi trophy. I want the Lombardi trophy. And I'm just focused on, playing ball this year. I'm not focused on my contract. I'll let my agent take care of that in the future." So, yeah, that was great to hear, because I thought there was a chance he was going to be bothered or insulted or just, put out or just in a bad space mentally or emotionally. And that would weigh the whole team down. Understands he's taking this year like a total pro. So I thought that was huge. Obviously the Pearsall and Purdy thing is huge.
Before you move on, let me just say that the only time I saw Deebo today without his helmet on, huge smile on his face. I mean, yucking it up with the guys. I mean, an awful lot of high-fiving with Pearsall, either back in the huddle or running back to the line of scrimmage after the route had been run, after the play had ended. He caught everything that came his way. And he did. He looked carefree. He looked like he was in a great mood. I mean,
yeah,
ear to ear smile whenever his helmet was off, and when his helmet was on, he was making plays. So yeah, it looks like Deebo's really operating from a good headspace. He looks to be in tip-top shape. I think he's very proud of his Deebo Samuel Sr. jersey and his new number 1. Trent Taylor now wearing number 19, by the way. Deebo looked great. I mean, no drama there at all. And he should take this like a pro, because it's a beautiful thing, man. If you have a great season, it's all going to take care of itself.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That's the other thing too. Everybody talks about these things like everybody knows definitively how it's all going to go. We don't know who's got, what left in the tank, what kind of years guys are going to have. A football season is like, 1 year of a football career is like 5 years of an NBA career, 5 years of a baseball career. And so anything can happen. I mean, if the guy has an incredibly productive year, there's no law that says they have to move on from him. They can decide to keep him. I mean, that's the kind of the beauty of this whole thing. They don't know what the future of Trent Williams is going to be, or George Kittle, or Nick Bosa, or anybody else for that matter. Everybody's one hit away from the end. Everybody's, you just never know. So, the fact of the matter is, we'll find out how this roster gets evolved and evolves at the end of the year, but he doesn't seem like he's bothered by the fact that this could potentially be his last year. The other thing that jumped out offensively was, the tight end spot where they just picked up Logan Thomas, who's a former quarterback at Virginia Tech, former Arizona Cardinal.
I didn't see Logan Thomas out there. I'm guessing he was.
He's there. He was there. Yeah.
Didn't see him.
Number 48. He was out there. I didn't see him doing tons, but he was out there. Kittle was talking to him a little bit. But you got Kittle as your tight end 1. And then you've got just, a room full of guys. I mean, you got Logan Thomas, who's experienced. You got Braden Willis in his second year. You got Cam Latu in his second year. Both those guys kind of redshirted last year. There's Eric Saubert, who's a veteran who played with Houston last year. There's Jake Tungs from Cal. There's Mason Pline, who I've been talking up from Furman. So, to me, the one guy this week that really has gotten my attention is Braden Willis. Braden Willis looks kind of like a fullback. He's kind of shaped like a fullback. But you know what? They flexed him out. He's wearing number 8, I believe, 8 or 9. And they flexed him out. They used him, as a receiver, and he made some plays down the field, and he plucked the ball naturally, and he looked kind of explosive, more explosive than I remember Ross Dwelley looking. And Braden Willis, they gave him their gold helmet designation in the draft 2 years ago. That's like something reserved for guys that they love everything about them. They love their personality and temperament and leadership and effort and talent. And Braden Willis was that player coming out of Oklahoma. And great guy. Talked to him a bunch last year. He's a Texas kid. He went to Oklahoma, and it's like he took his redshirt year. He clearly improved, and watching him run around out there, it's like he's explosive. He's a big play guy. I think he's going to wind up being tight end 2 behind Kittle.
Well, look, Logan Thomas is a guy who's been a captain in this league. And the way I just see the 49ers approaching this year, and this is where you and I go back to the draft and talking about, how many snaps is Pearsall going to get? How many snaps is Cowing going to actually get this year? Logan Thomas has got about 100 NFL games under his belt. I mean, I think that matters to Shanahan. I think that's why he's in the room. Because if we're just going on physical specimens, your tight end 2 is Mason Pline. I was joking around with Kawakami. We were both looking at him, and I'm sitting there with Tim, and I'm like, can you imagine being the kid at Furman or playing in whatever league Furman is in, and you're lining up that day against this guy? Like, how did that guy and that body get to Furman? Because Mason Pline is a house. He is a big dude. And if he doesn't make this roster, it won't be because he doesn't have that NFL size. He is gargantuan out there. So I was impressed with him. I didn't see Braden Willis's reps much. I kind of was just looking for Pline. And in the little bit of offensive sets I saw him actually get to run, I don't think he caught a ball. I don't think he was thrown a ball. But he was out there, and he's got an NFL body, that's for sure. We'll see if he has an NFL career.
Pline reminds me a lot of a taller version of Brent Jones. Brent went to Santa Clara. He was a really, really smart player. Pline is a really, really smart player. Pline's bigger, but he's a receiver first and a blocker second. And I think Jones was a receiver first and a blocker second. And he's really smart, really competitive, really athletic, kind of a late bloomer, huge step up in level of competition. But yeah, if you said to me, bet on 3 guys, let's just say the Niners are going with 3 tight ends. They may go with 2, they may go with 4. But I mean, if you're going with 3, I would say Kittle's your tight end 1. I'm going to say that Braden Willis is tight end 2, and Pline is tight end 3. Now, I know a lot of people think that Logan Thomas is going to make the team because he is a veteran, but he's had some significant injuries. We'll see. I mean, we'll see how it looks at. When Shanahan was asked about Thomas, he's like, hey, I wanted more depth and more competition at this position. So I don't know if it was a ringing endorsement for Thomas, but he definitely has more experience than these other guys. But man, if I'm expecting Braden Willis and Latu to, really bounce back big after their redshirt years. And one of those 2 guys is probably going to fulfill their potential. And coming out of this camp, I would say it looks like Willis.